Hello, my love. Welcome back to another episode of the Money, Mindset, and Manicures podcast. Today's episode may trigger you, and I want you to hear me out because if you're feeling triggered by this episode, then there is room for change. And that's exactly what I'm here for, is to give you a little bit of tough love. Because I know a lot of these episodes are very inspirational, motivational, but at the same time, we can only take so much inspiration and so much motivation in order for us to change. So today I'm going to go through a few things that may be holding you back, and you're looping on the same story over and over again and wondering why your reality isn't changing. So if you want to manifest those goals and desires faster, if you want to change your life faster, here are a few things that I want you to start thinking about and actually taking action on, so you stop this loop that you are currently in, so you can actually change your reality. Because I've been having some conversations inside our manuscripted community. I've been having some one-on-one conversations in the DMs, and the same thing keeps on happening. I keep hearing the same sob stories over and over and over, sometimes from the same people, and they're wondering why their manifestations aren't coming true. And the first one is, are you continuing to complain? Are you continuing to complain about things in your reality that you just do not like? Because you have to remember that the universe, that God and source and whatever it is that you personally believe in, it is a mirror for you. Our reality mirrors exactly what's going on internally. So if you have a desire for change, take a look at what you're complaining on a daily basis. And sometimes you may think, well, the things that I'm complaining about isn't the thing that's got to do with my manifestation. And I'm here to tell you that doesn't matter, because ultimately your state, your physical state, your state of mind, your state of emotion, no matter what your manifestation is that you're calling in, what you currently have in your reality is a result of your internal state. So first, you have to stop complaining. No matter what it is, whether it is maybe about your life circumstance, maybe it's your home situation, maybe it's that you don't have a partner yet, maybe it's that you don't have enough money in your bank account, start approaching those things whenever they do come up. For example, you looking at your bank account, and instead of saying, oh my God, I don't have enough money for this, instead look at it and be like, oh my God, I'm so fucking grateful that I actually have these dollars in my bank account, because I know more money is coming on its way. And the second that you stop yourself in your tracks from, instead of complaining about it, to taking ownership and owning it, that like, yeah, this is the money that I have. I'm so fucking grateful for it. And also, I know more abundance is on its way. You are now changing your frame of mind. You are now changing your state of reality. So with this complaining part also comes like your mark of change, because manifestations don't start happening and don't start coming true until you actually change all the circumstances that you can actually control. And the one thing that we can fully control is how we show up. Same comes with maybe arguing with a partner. If you're constantly showing up to argue with them and to actually consider like, okay, let's continue this fight, let's continue fueling this fire between us, well, guess what happens? You're stuck in this loop of constantly arguing together and constantly doing the same thing over and over, and you're expecting a different result. And the same thing goes for maybe showing up to that argument. Maybe you're like, oh, well, you know what? I'm just not going to care today. They can say what they want and I'm not going to care. That's just as bad, because by you saying you don't care, well, you're actually perpetuating that situation, because you're actually now detaching yourself, but in a way that is actually negative. Because you saying, I don't care, I'm tired of arguing, I'm giving up. What's that signaling? You're not actually adding value to that situation. So I want you to just think about, where in your life right now are you arguing for your limitations? For example, I have members in the community that come to me and be like, well, I really want to manifest this, but I've had this trauma happen to me, and I've had this happen to me, and I'm broke, and I'm this, and I'm that. You're literally arguing for those limitations. You're arguing for those limiting beliefs to continue. Because the more often you bring up those situations, and guess what? Yes, we all have trauma, whether it's big T, little t. As adults, we all have shit going on in our lives. But if we keep bringing them to the surface, like, I really want this, but this has happened to me, and this so and so did this to me, and oh my gosh, I just know they're going to do it again. Well, that doesn't change the loop. You haven't yet forgiven yourself or forgiven them or taken ownership in their situation and in that situation for you to grow, because you are just holding on to that limitation and you're arguing it every second that you can get. It's almost like you're creating this excuse for yourself that you can't have this abundance, that you can't have this true love, because you are stuck in this, well, this happened and they are this and I am this, and all these negative things. Well, of course, you're not going to call in those manifestations because you are constantly stuck in this loop of, oh, poor me. Oh, poor this happened. And I'm here to tell you, you can share this story with as many people as you want, but I can tell you this, those other people do not care. And if you continue perpetuating the circumstance, nothing is going to change. So you are actually in charge of breaking this loop. No one else is going to do it for you. And once you start maybe showing up to those different circumstances, whether it is finding that partner, maybe you've gone on a bunch of shitty dates and you're like, oh, all men suck, or, oh my God, everything sucks around me. Well, guess what? Why would you expect any sort of change to happen? Because the universe is literally mirroring to you exactly what you are feeling, exactly what you are experiencing. And that is why you have the reality that you have. And this is why, yes, manifesting and writing down your goals and saying your affirmations is so important. But if you're doing all those things, like 1 minute of the day, say you do that in the morning, but then throughout the rest of the day, you're complaining about it, then guess what's going to happen? Nothing is going to change. You truly, truly, truly have to believe in those things, that they are coming to you. And it doesn't happen overnight, because what got you here today is a compilation of all of those thoughts, all those emotions, all those actions taken, is why you are in the circumstance that you have today. So the only way to get yourself out of it is to seriously change that mindset and make a promise to yourself that you are going to change it. So why continue arguing for those limitations? Because guess what? You're arguing for something that you are literally going to carry on into the next day and the next day and the next day. And here you are, a year later, you're still stuck in the same shit. And that is why. Because if you've done this work, or if you've tried to do this work, or if you think you're doing this work and truly nothing has happened, then something is going on in here inside your mind, because you are truly, truly such a powerful creator. And if you don't take control of your circumstance, then it is going to perpetuate on and on and on. Another one is obsessing over it, obsessing over your manifestation. And I know when you are writing down in your manuscripting journal every single day and you're focusing on these goals and they're so exciting, right? It can seem like you're obsessing about it. But in reality, it is really trying you to get into that mindset to take action on those goals throughout your day. It's not like I'm sitting here every single moment of the day. For example, I'm calling in a Lamborghini right now. So for me, it's not like every second of the day, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I do this, I'm getting a Lamborghini. If I do that, I'm getting a Lamborghini. If I'm doing this or not doing that, I'm getting that Lamborghini. I'm not sitting there every single minute of the day thinking about that Lamborghini and taking action. No, it's just top of mind throughout the day. So then I can take action on it, whether it's in my business, how I show up and I'm giving in my community, how I show up in my partnership, and how much full of love that I am when I'm outgoing, having fun on the weekends. When I allow myself to truly infuse myself as of high vibration, I'm not thinking about that Lamborghini every single minute of the day, but it is top of mind to remind me why I am showing up in the way that I am every day. I hope you understand the difference. And the next one is living in that lack or scarcity mindset, right? So say every single day, maybe you're checking your bank account every single day because so-and-so finance person told you to do so. I know that we do that now, but back few 3, 4, 5 years ago, I checked my bank account trying to work on my goals and I get so sad. I'd get so sad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here I am trying to manifest a Lamborghini, but I have $100 to my name, right? Like, oh, how defeating does that feel, right? But here's how I did it to change it. I started creating little wins for myself. I was able to put away 10% here. I was able to give a lot more. Maybe when I'm tipping somebody, maybe I was able to give some more. Maybe I was able to show up and be in this high vibration. I look at my bank account and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that one day that Lamborghini is coming. And I know it. I know it down to my bones that it is. But I don't sit there crying about it that it isn't here today because I understand how the universal laws work. Law of attraction, right? Law of polarity, law of reciprocity. All of these things, we have to understand that our reality is the last thing to happen. The first steps always happen in the spiritual world, right? It's how are we showing up? Are we feeling abundant, even though maybe our physical reality doesn't show it yet, right? So with that, I want you to start thinking about it instead of, oh, poor me, literally, or, oh my gosh, I don't have money for that, or, oh my gosh, this goal seems so far away. Break it down into smaller goals that maybe you know you can achieve in the next 30 days, right? Because everything has this compounding effect. And when you start even looking at finances or money as it's just fucking paper, it's just paper. I talked about in the last couple episodes about money and the secret to gaining more wealth. It's from a place of this high vibration. It's this place of giving, whether it's your time, whether it's your money, whether it's just showing up with a helping hand. It's all about that high vibration of what makes you feel good and juicy. So instead of looking at those dollar signs and being like, oh my gosh, I'm so far away, break it down a little bit more. And the next one is surrounding yourself with negativity, right? Maybe you have a group of friends right now where you get together and all you do is complain about things. That's pretty typical. That's pretty typical until you reach that mark of change where you start showing up to these friend gatherings and you're like, you know what? This feels so fucking gross. That's how I felt throughout my 20s and stuff. I slowly started elevating myself. And slowly I started showing up to these friend groups and I noticed all the shit that we did was just complaining, whether it was about our relationships, our lack of relationships, about men in the community, about myself, about not having the finances, all of those things. And slowly, as I started elevating myself in these friend groups, that all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this whole entire weekend I spent with friends and all we talked about was high vibe shit. Yes, we maybe have talked about our problems, but not to complain. It was to gather solutions. So if you surround yourself with people that continue to perpetuate that negativity, and if you're leaving those conversations low vibe, or if you're feeling those conversations like, oh, I resonated with all of that. I resonated with all the complaining. I resonated with all the gossip. Well, you haven't yet hit that mark of change. And I promise you, when you hit that mark of change, that's when your reality will start shifting. And I think that is why so many people are stuck in this loop of like pretending to manifest. You're pretending to do the work. But if after 6 months to a year, you're still stuck in the same shit, you haven't met that mark yet. And that means it's your responsibility to actually produce that change in yourself before you show up to others. So one thing that I would do is maybe in those conversations that you're having, whether it's, you know, with yourself or with a partner, with friends, with family members, if you notice yourself being stuck in that conversation, and if you know you cannot change the direction of this conversation, that's when you excuse yourself. And that's when you do not book another date with your friends of that caliber again, because those are also the people that are keeping you stuck in this loop. So instead, maybe instead of contributing to the conversation of complaints, of gossiping, change it. You have the power to change it. Talk about what's going on good in your life. And if you notice that other people cannot contribute to that, that's a big telltale sign. It's time to change your friendship group. It's time to change the people you hang out with, because I promise you, once you do that, shit will start to change in your life. I know for me, most recently, in the last 3-ish months or so, I didn't hit a big goal that I was anticipating on hitting this year. And I'm getting emotional about this because it's calling me out on it. I was not expecting to cry on this episode. But I took it off my vision board. I took it off and I started hanging out with some extremely incredible high vibe people most recently. And after hanging out with them, I was all like, fuck that. Like, why did I remove this from my board? Because it didn't happen on my timeline, right? Like it just didn't happen on my timeline. And I'm like, well, that is so stupid, Sam. You literally teach manifestation. You know, you cannot put time frames on things because you know different things are shifting in your reality for that to happen. And what did I do? Sat down with Mark We restructured most recently so many things in our life and business. And all of a sudden, that goal again, it seems so fucking attainable. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here emotional because I'm like, damn, like I almost did that to myself. And I did do it to myself. And I just had to snap myself out of it. And the best way for me to have done that is to have more high vibe conversations with friends that can literally bring it out of me. Because sometimes, yes, we get stuck on this trajectory of growth. And all of a sudden you feel yourself hit that ceiling. And you're just like, oh my God, what's the next level? What's the next thing? And for me, that's what that felt like. And I almost cannot believe that I took that off my vision board, because I woke up even this morning, I was meditating with Mark, and after meditation, I was all like, babe, like, what the fuck? Like I took this off my vision board, and Mark had also taken something off his vision board. Again, we were trying to get shit done on our own timelines. Where, funny universe, like it doesn't happen that way, right? And I put it back on there today because I'm like, yes, we can have those things that we desire. We can. We are so fucking abundant. We are the creators of our realities. And just because something doesn't happen on your specific timeline doesn't mean that it won't. It's a good way to also take a look and take inventory of your life and be like, okay, X, Y, and Z has gotten us to this point. Cool. Well, guess what? That X, Y, and Z won't get you to that next level. And that's the reality check that I needed. And for me, it came from having these incredible high vibe conversations with friends and seeing what they have done and what they have accomplished. And for me, that's all that it took for me to snap myself out of this, my little negative loop that I was in for a few months, of actually removing something from that vision board that I had, that goal that I had. And I'm like, fuck that. Yes, I can totally have it. I can totally have it. And all it takes is for us to restructure things in our life. How am I showing up now? Okay, well, this thing that I really desire, it's going to take a new level of me, because what got me to where I am today, I know for a fact is not going to get me to where I want to be. Sometimes we need to just check in with ourselves and have this reality check of like, okay, things aren't happening, quote unquote, fast enough. Cool. What do we need to do to make that shift happen? And that's exactly what I did. And I have no doubt in my mind that we will hit that next milestone that I'm manifesting, because I know that I've now started implementing change in my life to make it fucking happen. Next one is doubting yourself in the process, right? Like I just went through that. I doubted myself on something, which I don't even remember the last time I've ever doubted myself in something truly. But again, new levels, right? They say new level, new devil. I don't feel like it's a devil. It's that position of growth that you have to come back to yourself and be like, okay, well, what is going to get me to that next level? What change do I actually have to make? And that's exactly what I did. And for a minute, I was arguing for my limitations. And where did that get me? That made me feel defeated. That made me feel that lack. That made me feel that scarcity almost, of like, oh yeah, it's not going to happen to me. But hey, reality check, Sam, it can happen for you. You have to just think different. You have to act different, and not different like changing my entire personality. It's just making those small little changes in my day to day. For me, it was really restructuring how I run my life and business. If you haven't followed me on Instagram lately, for me, it was, now I'm in the 4th week of this workout plan. And I know this may seem so minimal, but for me, I started 6 weeks of the work. I just started the 4th week today. And for me, the last 3 weeks, holy shit, I put myself on a workout plan. Even though I've been a fitness trainer and fitness professional my entire fucking life, I put myself on someone else's workout plan. And I promised myself every single fucking day, I'm getting to the gym no matter what. And if you know me, or if you're a business owner and stuff like that, if you have a lot of responsibilities, sometimes getting to the gym, oh my gosh, it's like either non-existent, or you just run out of time of the day because you're doing this, you're doing that, you're taking calls, you're recording this, you're doing all of these things. And I was starting to put my workouts on the back burner. Truly, there was multiple days a week that I would miss because I was so busy in my business. But let me tell you, once I put myself on this workout plan and I committed to myself, and I even committed to myself by posting a weekly update every Monday. Today it's Tuesday because I was traveling yesterday, but every single week I was posting a recap of that last week. And honestly, I don't care if anyone got anything for that, but it was a commitment. If I put myself more front facing, that yes, Sam's doing 6 weeks of the work. I recorded a little clip of every single workout that I did, made a little montage of like, yes, I'm committed, I'm going. guess what that did to my mental state? That made me feel so fucking accomplished. You have no idea, because that's the one part of my life that I can truly actually share. If I sat down and recorded what I'm doing for business every single day and stuff like that, it would seem pretty mundane and honestly would probably make some boring content, because all it is a lot of computer work and calls and that sort of stuff, which maybe, I don't know, if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I'll be happy to share more. But for me, showing up and doing that workout every single day and being committed to it, now by the fourth week, I feel so fucking unstoppable that I know that for me, that kind of mentality rolls over into all parts of my life, on how I eat, on how I show up, how I get my work done. Another thing that we did is we restructured things in our business, where now everything belongs on a ClickUp board. And I know for some people, it's like, well, didn't you happen to use that before? I would use calendars for meetings and stuff like that, but there was stuff that was always slipping through the cracks. And that would leave us feeling really frustrated, because by the end of the week, it's like, oh my gosh, we didn't get X, Y, and Z done. That was like on a paper written list, and it just got swept under the rug because you just get so busy. And as a founder of a company, so many things come up. But now, even most recently, by just putting all of these things in a ClickUp board, and this is for Mark and I, and we're just going through every single day, we're holding each other accountable. It's giving us more power and making us feel way more accomplished. And if you're familiar with ClickUp, it's like having a digital to-do list, right? So it's like marking off those things every single day, seeing what's coming up tomorrow. It gave us so much more structure and gave us more confidence. And oh my gosh, we're finally doing the things. And that's what I mean by when you get to that next level of XYZ got you here, but it's not going to get you to the next place. And I know for me, that is fact. And I know for me now, by even implementing those little things, how I'm showing up in my business, how I'm showing up for my workouts, how I'm showing up with Mark and my life and the travels that we have and the fun that we have, it's going to create such a beautiful just resonance of this reality of feeling good, feeling high vibe, feeling like we're on top of it, versus constantly feeling behind, or constantly in that lack, or constantly in that scarcity of not getting something done. So where can you put a little bit more structure? It doesn't have to be as crazy as us, doing a ClickUp board and writing down every single thing that we have to do. It totally depends on your lifestyle and what you're trying to accomplish. But like I said, what got you to where you are today isn't going to get you to where you are tomorrow. So what things can you implement? Maybe it could be doing a workout, maybe going for a daily walk. Maybe it is getting in charge of your meals and your meal plan. Where can you actually create some structure in your life to make you feel accomplished? Because I promise you that confidence rolls over. When you can mark off that thing that you did it and you stayed committed to the plan, oh my God, it is a game changer. So I have no doubt that my bigger milestones that are coming, they are going to come, because I'm finally getting a little bit more organized with my life. I was already organized before, but not to the level where I am today. And I know that that is a true measure for calling in these different manifestations, because I know every single day, even with just starting my workout at the beginning of the day, from that, I feel so fucking high vibe. I feel like I can take on the world, right? So those are really 5 things that you can start doing and take a look at, take inventory of how you are showing up. Okay, babe, I know you're listening to this podcast because I know that you have a desire to change your life and accomplish big goals, right? But I also know that something has been holding you back on going after those big goals. Or maybe it's that you self-sabotage, or maybe you've set these big goals and you get really overwhelmed and you just don't go after them altogether. Well, I want to introduce you to a journal that is literally going to help you change your life and help you actually manifest and accomplish any desires or goals that you have. It's called the Marriage Scripting Journal, and it's the #1 selling manifestation and goal setting journal designed exclusively for empowering women just like you to up-level and change your life. Now, if you haven't seen this journal on social media already, I want to share with you that it is literally your personal guide to manifesting your dreams and unlocking your true potential. And inside its beautifully curated pages, you'll discover powerful daily journaling pages, workbooks, and exercises to help you set goals, help you plan your dreams, and manifest the life that you deserve. Plus, the one thing that I had to include, and it was a non-negotiable with this journal, is that it needed to have a community. So you'll also have access to join an online community filled with thousands of women just like you who are on the same path using the journal. So I invite you to join me and these thousands of women who have already embraced the power of manifestation and changed their life using the Marriage Scripting Journal. And I also want to gift you with a special 15% off code on your first journal order by using the code Money Mindset. The code is Money Mindset. So head over to manuscripting.com today and embark on a transformative journey by ordering the journal. So go ahead, check out the show notes, empower yourself. Answer the call to getting this journal. If this is speaking to you, I want you to join us. It's time to script your dreams into reality with the Marriage Scripting Journal because you deserve to create and manifest a life that you're completely obsessed with. See show notes for details. The biggest thing with this is stop trying to argue for your limitations, right? Say you do want to go work out. Say you do want to start a business. Say you do want to call in that relationship. Well, if you continue to argue for those limitations of, oh my gosh, I don't have time. Oh my gosh, all the men out there suck. Oh my gosh, everything is just awful and horrible. I just don't have enough time in the day. Well, guess what? You will continue to perpetuate it, right? We all have the same amount of hours in the day. Some people are really good at managing that time. And if you feel like you aren't really great at managing your time to put another system in place, whether it is committing to something, at least one thing. And I promise you, it's going to roll over. The one thing I want you to take from this is you have to drop your limiting belief. Stop arguing for it. Stop complaining to other people about it. Do that inner work. With the Marriage Scripting community, we have a free shadow workbook that you can work through. Because sometimes if you haven't done that inner work of being able to forgive yourself, being able to take responsibility for what your actions were in that situation, we continue to carry it. You carry it like a backpack on your back, just full of shit, right? And that backpack starts to get heavier and heavier and heavier the longer that you carry it on. Why do we want to do that? It's not what we want to do. We don't want to mirror to the universe that that's exactly what we want, right? So stop arguing for it because nobody cares, because we all have our own shit. And if you're trying to get a pity party from someone, that's not showing up for yourself in your most highest vibration. Because ultimately, as you share these things, unless you're with a therapist or a healer or someone that's trying to work with it with you, right? The more that you share these things with other people, it's like you're literally just perpetuating that negativity. You're perpetuating it onto them. You're not making them feel high vibe. You're not feeling high vibe. And you're stuck in this consistent loop. So stop with the sob stories to everybody, right? Talk it out with your therapist, talk it out with your healer or your coach or someone that's actually meant to help you through those things. But if you want to mirror change in your reality, if you want to get out of this loop that you are consistently stuck in, you need to stop for it. Because change can happen really, really quickly when you stop arguing for these limitations. And that mark of change will start happening in your reality as soon as you start taking care of it up here in your mind. Just really, really think about how you can stop this loop. And I promise you, once you put it into it, I mean, it won't just take one day. It's going to take time, right? Because we have to reprogram that subconscious mind of those stories, which, yes, they served a purpose. They got you to where you are today, and they helped you grow and maybe helped you heal in some capacity. And they brought you where you are today, right? Which we should all be grateful for. We're out here living. You're listening to this podcast. You have internet. You have all of these amazing things in your life, right? So why perpetuate those circumstances and dump them onto other people that, for them, they might not even be able to help you? What is the point? And the physical world is the last thing that is going to show change, right? We always tend to kind of look for things of proof in our reality, which, yes, we can do. By, for example, you look at me, I have a very successful company. I have an extremely loving relationship, have the house, have the car, have all the things, can travel, all of that. Yes, we want to see some proof in our reality, right? Of, yeah, she did it. She has that. She has that. No, right? We want to see proof. But at the same time, our physical reality changes for our own personal selves, right? Like the bank account, maybe it's the home, maybe it's the relationship. Our physical reality is the last thing to change. The rest, it's all metaphysical, it's all spiritual. It all has to change up here first, because those are the universal laws that we play by here, right? It's that law of attraction. It's all of those different laws where it all is going to mirror back to us. So if you're not happy with that circumstance today, it's literally taking that mindset of showing up with love, maybe putting, I'm going to put my foot on the line, foot in the sand, put my foot down. What's that quote? But you're going to put that foot down, and you're not going to participate in that bullshit anymore. And you're just going to have to let it go. You have to release and let it go. Because if you can't release the past and let it go, it's going to perpetuate in the future. It's going to keep looping, and you're going to keep getting stuck in this shit that you're in. And that is not where you want to play, right? I guarantee you that is not what you want the rest of your life to be. But there is proof that there are people that are stuck in this loop day after day, year after year, right? And they are still, you see them 5, 6, 10 years later, and you're like, damn, like they're still complaining about that. They're still complaining about their man. They're still complaining about their finances. They're still complaining about their job, right? That's on them. That is not normal. We are here having a human existence, right? You're here in this reality, and you are able to receive all the abundance that you can have. It is all out there. It is all out there floating around, ready for you to grab. But it's not going to come to you if you're complaining about it, if you're living in that scarcity mindset, if you're just doing all the things that are repelling it from you, right? It all starts with us. We can't put blame on other people. We can only put blame on ourselves. And sure, you can put blame on yourself for a hot second to check yourself. Check yourself how you're showing up in these situations. And if you don't want it anymore, you've made that decision, and you cannot play in that game anymore, because you will experience huge quantum leaps once you decide to make that mark of change. But it all starts with you. The one thing that I want you to start doing is arguing for your abundance, right? Argue for your abundance instead of complaining, instead of arguing for your past, instead of arguing for all the shit that's happened to you. Start arguing for your abundance, that you are rich, that you are loved, that you are the queen that you are, right? That's when you'll start calling and attracting it in. Whether it's just getting up to work out, putting yourself together, get out of those sloppy sweats, put your makeup on if you desire, if that makes you feel like a queen. Do the things that make you high vibe. And if there's anything that's making you feel in that low vibration, you got to kick it. You got to stop doing it, because that is not going to call in your manifestations and your abundance. How can you expect your reality to change if you have it? That's the biggest question. How can you expect your reality to change if you have it? Your reality cannot change, because those are the universal laws. So start showing up better. Start showing up more positive. Start looking at everything from a gratitude perspective. Thank the people, thank the experiences for the lessons, but you have to gather and master that lesson. Because if you don't master that lesson or learn from it, guess what's going to happen? That lesson is, I guarantee you, going to come back again. It happened to me all through my 20s with dating. I would show up to dates. I would date certain guys. They sucked. They treated me like shit. Maybe they made me a worse person because they pulled that shit out of me, right? Because that's what happens too. And then all of a sudden, I started showing up and acting as if I'm the fucking queen. And if I'm going to date someone, they need to be my fucking king. And they need to treat me with respect. They need to treat me like gold. They have to want to be with me, right? Then I'm not. When I shifted that mentality, everything changed. And hello, in steps Mark, right? And we had a lot of growing to do together. But what was so powerful about our relationship is we were both willing to step up and grow together. And it was so magical, really, throughout this entire experience of life. How are you showing up? Stop those loops. Those negative loops need to stop if you're expecting any sort of change. So I'm calling you out today is one way that you can begin. Check yourself with the complaining. Check yourself with the obsessing. Check yourself with the scarcity, right? Check yourself with who you're surrounding yourself with. And check yourself with how can you get a little bit more organized? How can you step into this queendom of you are actually owning this life? You're not just in this reactionary mode. If you're living in this reactionary mode, you're not in control. And the universe is going to mirror that to you. And it's going to bring you more of that. And we don't want more of the shitty stuff, right? We want more abundance. We want more love. We want more high vibe experiences. We want more play, more fun, more freedom. But if we can't infuse that for ourselves, whether it's just throwing on some music and having a little dance party in your room by yourself, if you can't do that for yourself, why should it be brought to you? It won't. You have to start incorporating these different positive elements into your life to get yourself out of that loop. Your reality is literally mirroring your beliefs. So if you don't like it, change your beliefs. Say, for example, you're looking in the mirror, right? And you're angry in this mirror because this is how reality works. You're looking in this mirror and you're fucking angry and you're fucking sad, right? You're looking at it. Why would you expect your reality to be any different? It's going to bring you more things that make you angry, more things that make you sad. It's going to throw a fucking pity party for you. We cannot change our reality if we're stuck in this. So keep thinking about that. And I'm not saying you can never be sad again or angry again, but before you maybe tear into somebody in an argument or a fight, or you read something online, you're like, fuck that shit. Check yourself. Just pass it by, right? How do you show up? Queens don't argue with peasants, right? They don't. They show up in their high vibe power and they fucking dismiss them, right? That's how you should be. Because our universe, source, God is literally mirroring that all back to you. So I hope this episode, even if it triggered you just a little bit, because maybe you are the type that likes to complain to your friends, or you are the type that likes to latch on to that trauma and use it as an excuse for why you are not where you are today. I hope it did trigger you, and I hope it's going to trigger that change in you. Because when the change happens in you, I promise you, your reality is going to change. Let me know if this episode resonated with you. Let me know if you are triggered right now. And I really hope maybe you are. And if you're not, then kudos. I'm proud of you because you have already surpassed that mark of change. But it's just a reminder to stop doing those things when they come up. Because as you grow and evolve and elevate and you start manifesting more and more and more, guess what? It's not that it gets easier to not fall back into this pattern. For example, me, in the last 3 months, I felt it. I was there and I've been manifesting and an expert at this for years, right? But it's that new level. And that new level will tend to bring back a little bit of stuff from the past, whether it is that little bit of trauma that comes up, where is that little bit of doubt that comes up, whether that is that little bit of, oh, I can't do this, I'm not confident enough, it will bring it back. And it only does that because you're about to experience this next level of growth. Instead of getting down and out about it, instead of just writing it off and be like, oh, there's no way I can ever manifest that, there's no way I can ever accomplish that. Instead of writing it off, use it as a sign for you that, oh shit, I'm approaching that ceiling. I'm at that ceiling right now. And I know I can surpass the ceiling. I know it. I've had proof. I've done X, Y, and Z already. I've manifested these things. What is it different to manifest something a little larger? It's not. And again, go back and listen to my last couple episodes on this podcast, because those episodes, I talk about hitting that ceiling, about self-sabotage, about wealth, about giving more, all of those things. Those are really good episodes to listen to. And this is your reminder that you are a mirror of your reality. And if you do not like where you are, you have the power to change it. So use these tools, these little tools, these 5 things that I just mentioned to start showing up in a little bit of a different way. Okay. I hope you loved this episode. Leave a review if you haven't done so already, because I know that this episode is fucking powerful. I know that after listening to this, you are more not only inspired, but you're like, shit, like, yes, this is stuff that I need to do. And I know it's going to change my reality. And remember, this stuff doesn't activate overnight, but with that constant reminder, that reprogramming of your mind of how you're showing up and how you're doing things and what you're saying, how you're acting, the people that you're hanging out with, the things that you're doing, like all of those things, it takes time. I'm going to leave it at that. But thank you so much for listening to this episode. I love you, and let's manifest some really epic shit.